Okay, there we are. It's there. You go and sit over there, and we'll do a bit of a send some test messages, chats. I mean, test chats. Send some money if you want. Send a super chat. And let's just you got that okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, mm-hmm. So that's working fine. Perfect. Okay.
No problem.
What else? Can you hear the audio okay?
It's just a delay.
It's a delay, is it? Okay. But I'm wondering if you can hear it through here.
No, it's just a normal delay.
Oh, okay. There's some people joined. G'day, everyone. I'm just testing this for tomorrow's live stream to make sure everything's working because I have had some problems in the past. So thanks for confirming that. There's 13 people here. We can chat about rugby if you want. Just doing a test session to make sure everything's set up all right for tomorrow. I've got the chat box here. I'm seeing your messages, David, randomly factual. I can see you as well. So it's all working perfectly good, which it wasn't last time. And audio is fine. Okay, good. Just on the audio, it's not too loud, is it? Because I've got I've got one of these microphones and I want to make sure the condenser's okay. The blue hoop jersey, Western Province Rugby. Actually, it's Auckland Blues behind me. No, it's not. It's actually a beach towel, guys. It's not a jersey. It's a beach towel. There we go. But I've got the Gilbert ball on that side and got the All Black cap on that side over there. Oh, you mean Saturday? Okay, got it. Cobus, hello. Welcome from Cape Town. How's the weather this afternoon in Cape Town, Cobus? Nice over there. We've got 40, what have we got? 42 degrees today here. 42 Celsius in Cancun. If anybody wants some hot weather, head this way. How excited am I for this weekend, David? Well, I tell you what, it's 55 years of watching international test rugby. And I think this is up there with probably one of the most exciting games in anticipation that I'm having, I think, for this weekend. I'm trying to think of others. I went to watch Argentina against the All Blacks at Athletic Park in Wellington in the Rugby World Cup in 1987. That I was very excited about that game. And to watch my first World Cup game live, that was a big moment in my rugby history. A lot of anticipation. And then the 1975 All Blacks game against Scotland at Eden Park. That was another one of my most exciting times in rugby in terms of getting along to the flooded test and watching that. It was just absolutely fantastic. And my grandfather and my father and I, with the three boys, went along to that one. And my auntie and uncle lived a 5-minute walk away from Eden Park. So we stayed at their house. And we walked over to the ground in the pouring rain, and it just didn't stop for 2 days, basically. And it was fantastic. So, yeah, I reminisce, but this is up there as far as anticipation for any game I've watched in my lifetime, that's for sure. Springboks supporters allowed here, of course. Of course you are. If you've been following my channel for a while, David, you know that I embrace South African rugby. I love South African supporters as much as I love supporters from all over the world. So if you haven't engaged with my post I put on this morning about where you're going to be watching the game from this weekend, just go and do that, because I want to see where people are watching. We've got Ethiopia, India, Sweden, Dubai, New Zealand, of course, Australia, South Africa, Argentina, Belgium, I saw someone from Belgium is going to be watching this weekend. So absolutely fantastic stuff. I hear that Danny Gerber will be at Eden Park for the game. Yes, he will be. That's right. He was a fantastic player, wasn't he? Watched a number of his games. Brilliant backline player for the Springboks. And yeah, he was up there. Who was he against for the All Blacks at the time? Was it Bruce Robertson was in the All Blacks then, or was that later? You can probably tell me. Who was opposing Danny Gerber for the All Blacks back in the day? I can't remember off the top of my head. Is there any update about that petition you initiated towards World Rugby? Good question. No, I haven't got a reply yet from my first letter. I've actually sent 2 letters to them now. And I'm having a little bit of trouble getting the other YouTubers to get on board with me on this one. I feel as though I need to do it as a collaborative thing, not just by myself, because I haven't got the biggest channel, of course, in the rugby world. So if I know a lot of you watch Tim and others on YouTube, so if you can mention to them that I'm trying to get this petition together on behalf of all of us. Of course, it's going to help everyone in the YouTube community to get this content so we can talk about the live games and try and change the way that World Rugby and the broadcasters, don't forget, it's not just World Rugby, it's also the broadcasting licenses that are given out to the respective unions. And I'd love for that to change. So yeah, hopefully we can start using real live content and grow the game that way. So any help you guys can do in terms of getting the other YouTubers on board, I really appreciate it. Cold and 22 degrees. I'm assuming that's in Cape Town, is it? Yes, okay. So cold and 22, I'd love to be there. So would my wife, I think. Hey, you want to go to Cape Town? It's 22 degrees, half the temperature than it is here. How's it, Mark? South African slang. Great to see you live. Cheers from Umdiloti, small coastal village north of Durban. Fantastic. North of Durban. Bernie Fraser, there we go. Backline 1981. Bernie Fraser, Stephen Picuri, Stewie Wilson, Alan Hewson, Mark Donaldson. There we go. That was a good backline. Bernie Fraser. I used to watch Bernie play for Wellington in their number 11 jersey. He was a great winger, that guy. Absolute speedster. Just didn't get enough ball with the All Blacks, I thought. He was one of those players that really didn't get to show his very, very best in an All Black jersey, Bernie Fraser, but he was a brilliant player, scored some fantastic tries for Wellington back in the day. This has turned into a random YouTube event now. Resorted to aimless box kicks and giving the ball away. New Zealand have to play away from their DNA for 8 years since the Lions tour. Okay. KPPK. New Zealand been playing away from their DNA for 8 years since the Lions tour. Aimless box kicks and giving the ball away. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, comes down to a lot of the game plan, isn't it? And I wonder whether that's part of the problem with this backline that we're seeing with New Zealand at the moment, is that we've got probably instructions going out on how to play the game. So the likes of Ratama in particular at halfback have been told, and Bowden as well, being told what to do, and hasn't been working out, is it? So here's a question I'll put out to you all. What do you think is going to happen in the first 20 minutes of this game? Who do you think is going to dominate, and how are they going to do it? Because I think the first 20 of this game is going to be super, super important. And I think who gets that early initiative is going to be able to break through and get some points on the board. And if it is going to be a close game, like some of you have been saying in the comments of previous videos, then I think those first points, whether they be tries or penalties or whatever, are going to be vital. So do you think that first 20 minutes is going to be super important on the weekend? I'm thinking that it's going to be. Australia showed you can still play to the natural skill sets of Australia and New Zealand. Yeah, I agree with that. And I was thinking last night, what would be happening with this All Black backline if Joe Schmidt was the coach of the All Blacks at the moment? Do you think he would be able to turn it around like if we've seen what he's done with the Australian backline. I've been very impressed, of course, as you know through my videos, that Schmidt's done a brilliant job, I think, with that Australian backline. David says ABs is going to dominate and go 10 points ahead in the 20th minute. Okay, that's interesting. So you'll think they'll come out hitting the ground running, David? I think that's their best chance if you look back at the history between these two teams, and probably none better so than that game at Mount Smart Stadium in 2023. The All Blacks got away to a flyer in that one, and the Boks had trouble running them down. I think if the All Blacks get behind by quite a bit, they're going to have trouble getting back into it. I really believe that. I think the Springboks can really control it. Cobus, Frank Bunce era versus Danny Gerber. Yes, it was. That's right, Frank Bunce. He was a good centre, good 12 as well. Up and unders mostly from the box, yeah. So are we all thinking Andre Pollard's going to start this game? I saw in the comments yesterday that quite a few people were saying that Sasha might start the game and Russie might go for that quick, open, expansive game in the first 20 minutes or so. I can't see that happening myself. I think Andre's got to be there. The fact New Zealand have resorted to kicking the ball away and trying to play without the ball, big coincidence. They've been more penalised and conceded more yellow cards than ever. Yeah, good point. So why do you think they are kicking that ball away? Do you think it's they're working on the basis of trying to get territory and possession, bringing their bigger forwards into the game now? Or do you think it's just lack of ideas and ability to break through the defensive line? Because we've seen most of the other teams being able to do that. You don't see Australia kicking the ball away all of the time. You see them running at the line. If it gets close, the All Blacks will panic. They get nervous. Okay, interesting. They showed a bit of that against Argentina. I thought the last 15 minutes of that game were quite telling for the All Blacks. I thought they made some pretty poor decisions in that last 15 or 20 minutes of that game, particularly around that scrum taking versus going for the line out. They scored 2 rolling more tries off Takiaho the week before, and they go to a scrum with about 3 or 4 minutes left on the clock. I don't know why they made that decision, whether that was a lapse in leadership or whatever. Randomly Factual says, here is a random rugby fact. Rugby Union 15 as a sport was at the Olympics last in 1924. USA won the gold medal against France in 3-team tournament, USA, France, and Romania. Why weren't the Kiwis there in 1924? That's a question I'd have. That's very interesting, though. So rugby in the 15s was at the Olympic Games. It's time it came back. We need to have Antoine Dupont trying to get a gold medal for France at the Olympics in the 15s instead of 7s. ABs need to blitz in the first 20 minutes. Jono, yep. Couldn't agree more, mate. I think that's their best chance. And if they don't, could be a problem. Unfortunately, the TMO will decide the game, says Henny. Well, let's hope not. I think we're all wanting a clean game and we're wanting the best team to win on the day. So let's hope that Carl Dixon and the TMO buddies are able to keep themselves under control. I suspect there'll be a lot of looking at dirty play early on in the game to try and set a precedent, but let's hope that doesn't get out of control. Brian says, just hope the Springboks show their skills at Eden Park. Wallaby Speedster showed us a thing or two. Yeah, that's a good point, I think also, Brian, because I think there's no doubt about it. The Springboks have got speedsters to use, and I think this is a really interesting element of the potential of this game. I think if Russie picks a team that can play both the game we saw at Johannesburg in that first 20 minutes, but they're also able to control it in the back end if they get off to a good start. I think that's going to be the pinnacle. I think it's going to be extremely hard for the All Blacks if the Springboks pick a team that can do that. So if we're thinking we're going to see Colby and Mapimpi and Willie LaRue, And are we going to see that use of that speed out wide and Willie LaRue's kicking as well to get in behind the All Blacks defensive line? I think that's something that could happen. Randomly factual, the Kiwis and Boks couldn't make it to the Olympics because of the massive costs involved. Tours would bring in money to fund the trip. The only picks wouldn't. Yeah, fair enough. David says the crowd will be the difference. They'll push New Zealand to another level. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that people maybe underestimate a little bit about this whole Eden Park aura or whatever you want to call it. The crowd is fantastic there, and they do lift the All Blacks, and I think unlike any other ground in New Zealand. And isn't it? It's quite amazing to see the difference between the All Blacks' energy levels at Auckland, at Eden Park, versus in Wellington and that Cape Town. And having watched them play in both of those locations, it just seems like a different team comes out to play. It's really, really strange. I haven't seen that in many other situations in World Rugby, but there's something about that Wellington ground that just doesn't have good karma for the All Blacks. Line movement, 2025 stats. Contestable kicks for a game. Boks 37%, All Blacks 10%. Yeah, I don't know whether you saw some of the All Blacks training this morning on some of the video feeds, but the high ball was being tested a lot to the back three. And I saw Sevu Reece drop a couple of high ball testing and training this morning, so I hope that's not an omen. I hope Sevu Reece is not even in the team, to be honest, but you all know my feelings on that one. Kobus Polly on 10, Mr. Consistency. Yep, 7-1 split with Sasha replacing Fussy on 15. Wow, okay. 7-1 split. I don't think Russie's going to be that daring in this game. I really don't. I think he's going to go more traditional, and I think the fact that he's going to wait until the last minute to name his team, I think he's even going to wait for Razor to announce the All Blacks before he makes his final decisions. I'm sure that they've got a couple of options available, ready to go, and depending on what Razor does, but I don't see Razor going to do too many changes at all. I think, we've got Finlay Christie at 9. We've got, that says a lot in terms of how the back line's going to play. And as far as the forwards, I think Russie's smart enough to predict who Razor's going to put in the forwards. So good mind games on Russie's behalf, but I think when it comes to the team announcement, we're going to see what we're going to see from the All Blacks, that's for sure. David says, Scott Robertson anticipates South Africa will revert to their traditional strengths of physicality and tactical kicking, emphasising discipline and minimising errors as key to navigating the box. Yeah. Yep. I see that as well, but I also see a surprise coming from the Boks. They will take the All Blacks on at different times throughout this game by going wide, because I've seen enough defensive errors from the All Blacks in the last games to tell me that they can be broken open. And whilst I don't think this will be a major factor of the Springboks strategy, I think they will try it when they get the opportunity. And that will really keep the All Blacks on their toes. Someone's telling me the mirror on the wall is skew. I think your camera is not perpendicular to the back wall. Okay. Yes, you're 100% right. The mirror is actually straight on the back wall, but it's the camera. So thank you for letting me know that. And if you are looking at my background, it's the All Black cap on one side over there, and it's the Gilbert rugby ball on that side. There we go. And it's not an Auckland jersey behind me. It's a beach towel, if you're wondering about that. Randomly factory, how are you feeling about Christie on 9? He is obviously not first choice, but in terms of what you've got left, he's not too bad. Look, I have to give Finlay Christie a little bit of credit in terms of he's stable. And as a lot of commentators will say, you know what you're going to get from Finlay Christie. My issue with Christie, as a lot of you know, is that he's too predictable with his passing. He telegraphs his pass. He takes too long. He doesn't set up his back line to really be able to be attacking right from the get-go. It's the way he places his foot when he passes the ball. He really makes sure he's got a solid footing before he passes the ball. If you watch the likes of Cam Roygaard and Anton Dupont, they're always on the move. They're able to shuffle the ball on Sorry, I'm trying to do a demonstration. He's trying to shuffle the ball on very quickly, and you get your backline moving and having them set deeper as well. But I don't see that. I've never seen that from Finlay Christie. And I think another part of the game where he's lacking is his ability to do those sniping runs. And we see that from the likes of Faf de Klerk and Kobus Reinhardt, and we see it from Cam Roygaard and Cortez Ratama. So for me, I just think that, Finlay Christie doesn't bring that level to the All Blacks. Yes, he's a good player and he's steady and all the rest of it. But I think if you want to be constantly the best in the world, obviously, as we want to at the All Blacks, you need to have that next level, and that's why we're relying on Roygaard and Cortez Ratama and also Noah Hotham. I think he's going to bring something different, and I'm really excited to see Kyle Preston finally, hopefully, at some stage get a game for the All Blacks, because I think he may be another gem that the All Blacks can have in that 9 jersey, but that's just what I'm thinking. Henny, I honestly believe the All Blacks will win if we run the ball, less box kicks. We will run the box off their feet, go back to the 57-0 game. Yeah, sounds good in theory, Henny, but the problem with that is that I think this box team is a lot fitter than a lot of people give them credit for. Yes, altitude makes a huge difference, so we saw them getting a little bit tired against the Aussies, but I think in terms of down at sea level, and with the bomb squad coming on to keep the energy up and also the physicality, I don't see the box being run off their feet per se in this game. There'll be momentum shifts in this game, there's no doubt about it, and the All Blacks might be up for 15 or 20 minutes with that high intensity going at it, but the box will calm things down and they'll bring it back to a pace that they can live with, and we see that in most games, don't we? So I think this concept or this idea of running the box off their feet with this All Black team, I don't see it happening, to be honest. What else we got? Lion movement. I think we need to post FedEx a Springbok jersey to Mexico. Okay. I've been asked why I don't wear nationality jerseys. I don't have an answer to it, but I just stay as neutral as I possibly can because I love the game. I need to create a World Rugby jersey. That would be something I'd buy into. Christie needs to snipe runs, take the ball on. Yes, I agree. Christie needs to take some risk and play out of his skin this weekend. 100% agree. And look, I wouldn't be upset with the guy if he had a couple of darts from the breakdown or the scrum, and even if he got caught or whatever and got the ball back, at least he's giving it a chance. And you've got to make the South African defence look at something different. And I think that's what Christie needs to do. He's too predictable in a lot of his play. David Pell says, does it really matter who wins or doesn't? Ironically, whoever loses may have done their chances of winning 2027 a pile of good, because in truth, that's the prize. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Because I've been thinking over the last 24 hours, and maybe you can answer me in the comments here, that what would happen if Razor lost both of these games in New Zealand? And when I say what would happen, I'm not talking about him getting sacked. I'm talking about just the whole feeling around the All Blacks from other teams across the world, the Frances, the Englands, the Islands, the Argentinians and all the rest of it. And then what would happen if Russie lost both of these games in New Zealand? I think that would be a lot more acceptable to people because, yes, it's New Zealand in their backyard and all the rest of it, and South Africa beat New Zealand twice last year. I'm just wondering what you all think if one of the coaches loses both of these games. What will the sentiment be from the fans? Will they be forgiven? Will they think, okay, it's 1 against 2 in the world? This is close rugby. I'm interested to know your thoughts on that one. Mark, what are you feeling toward how the scrums were reffed so far? Well, like a lot of people, I'm absolutely gutted about the number 9 getting away with putting the ball in under the flanker's foot. And that's a disgrace. Back in the day, you never saw that happening. I grew up in Taranaki in New Zealand, and I lived a few kilometres away from the great Dave Loveridge, the All Black halfback at the time. And he was an absolute student of putting the ball straight in the channel and letting the hookers do their competition. That's what scrums were like back in the day. But these days, it's becoming more and more like rugby league, and I think it's an insult to the game of rugby. So, yeah, that needs to be pulled up from ref. So that's why I'm answering the question. I think, how am I feeling about the scrums and the way they're ref? Well, I'd like to see teams penalised for putting the ball way under their own feet. But for the rest of it, I think there's a lot of technicality going around the scrums, particularly putting the elbow down early. I think we're seeing a lot of penalties around that. And I'm okay with that because it's showing dominance. And we saw James Slipper getting pinged for that early in the season. He rectified that. And if you go back to Taniela Tupou as well, for Australia, he was getting pinged early in the season for that. But against South Africa, I thought he did a really good job and he corrected his technical mistakes. So, yeah, I think it's been pretty fair. I haven't seen one team being decimated with penalties from scrums. Let me know what you think. KPPK, Bowden, Rico, Reece, Geordie aren't even the best in their position in New Zealand. Half the back line is full of third stringers and people wonder why our attack is completely average. Well, I think you all know what I think of Rico Ioane at the moment, and I don't think he should be in the team per se at all. Bowden, I made a mention the other day. I'd like to see Bowden coming off the bench. I think that would be a really good solution for the All Blacks in the last 20 minutes of a game. He reads the game so well, Bowden, and the games that we have seen him come off the bench, he really makes a difference. And Sevu Reece, yeah, I wouldn't have him in my team either. I'd like to see Geordie go back to fullback. He did play there in the early days, and he was good at fullback. He's got a huge kick. He's great at running out of the defence at the back. He opens up the field a lot, and having wingers support him like a Jordan or a Caleb Clark, I think that would really give the back three of the All Blacks something very, very direct and powerful to go to, but we don't have that at the moment. So, yeah, Geordie at fullback would be a good one. 6-2 split, perfect. Who for? The Boks or the All Blacks? Jasper, let me know. Who's 6-2 split? Is that Russie or is that Razor? Who would be your start at fly half for the All Blacks at 10? Well, a lot of you say, well, Ruben Love needs more time in the All Blacks, and I agree with that, but he's just not getting the time. I think longer term, I'd like to see Ruben Love at 10. So with Roygaard at 9, Love at 10, I think that is the 9-10 combination that can set this All Black backline away. And I'd really like to see that down the path, and I'd have Bowden off the bench with DMAC off the bench. So that's my answer to that. I think those two longer term. I know you're not going to throw Love in there this weekend at number 10 against the Boks. That's unrealistic from Razor. If Razor gets fired, bring in Joe Schmidt. I think you mean Joe Schmidt. Let's open a petition. We want Ruben Love. Yes, we want Ruben Love. Yeah, I was talking about that yesterday. Joe Schmidt is the All Blacks coach. What would he have done with this backline? Would we still see Rico Ioane in there? Look what he's done with the Australian backline. He made a number of changes when he came in there, didn't he? Immediately. And that's one of the things I love about Joe Schmidt. He came into that Australian team last year. He gave a lot of players an opportunity to prove themselves. And then after they were given that opportunity, he started to grill down on the players that he wanted to create the team that we're seeing today. Obviously, they've been decimated by injuries lately. But with that, Tom Wright at fullback, Jorgensen on the wing, Corey Toole looks very good on the other wing, but also Dylan Pearch looks fantastic as well. So I really like what Joe Schmidt's done with this Wallaby backline, and I think if he'd come in as the All Black coach, we would have seen something very, very different, but would have, could have, should have, didn't. Boks use Afrikaans language on the field. ABs need some language lessons. Yeah. Well, the All Blacks could use Maori as well, couldn't they? Most of them. I'm not sure whether the Barrett boys speak Maori fluently, but and I think Geordie's picked up some Irish since he's been away, so... Mark, you are being neutral, so who do you think is going to win? I don't know whether I'm being neutral, Brian, but what I will say is I'll tell you who I think's going to win after I've seen the two teams named. And why does that make a difference to me? Well, it's going to say a lot about how the All Blacks are going to play. I think if, depending on who Razor goes with, if we see a very similar team to what we saw against Argentina, then it's going to be same old, same old. but we might see, I'm hoping we might see some surprises from Razor. And then how Rassie goes with his split, I think is going to be also another big factor. So I won't sit on the fence. Once I make my preview videos for the game on Thursday or Friday, I will let you know who I think is going to win. I promise not to be a fence sitter for this one. I don't think Robertson's intelligent enough to lead and win trust. That's a really interesting point. I think Scott Robertson is an intelligent guy. He did a lot of great things, of course, with the Crusaders, but this is international rugby. This is next level, and he's up against some of the best coaches in the world. And when I say best coaches in the world, I was a little bit frustrated yesterday when I was having a chat to somebody, because we talk so much about Rassie and Razor at the moment, and I think Fabien Gaultier is being kept out of this conversation about who are some of the best tactically astute coaches in the world of rugby at the moment. And I put Fabien Gaultier up there. I think what he's doing with France at the moment is outstanding. And I think we're going to see in the autumn series this year exactly what France are capable of. So getting back to Razor, though, I think Razor comes across awkwardly in a lot of his press conferences. He seems nervous. He seems out of his comfort zone, but you and I don't get to see him when he's doing his job behind the scenes. And I'm sure that he's more than competent. Where I would put the question marks at the moment is in a lot of his other staff, particularly his backline coaching group. From what we're seeing so far, I'm not sure whether Razor's got the right team around him, and that's probably one of the best questions we can ask at the moment. Hi, Mark. Thank you for these live sessions. You're welcome. I just came on here to make a technical test for tomorrow's live stream, folks. So this wasn't planned. You would have known about it if I was going to do a live stream, and then you've all jumped on here. So I've decided to chat away. So that's how this has come about. So thank you. Thanks for spending time with me. I love talking about rugby to anyone at any time. So might do more random sessions in the future. Jasper, if Mani Lebok is selected on the field or the bench, it's going to be a hard day at the office. Running rugby coming up. Yeah, it's really interesting. I know we've got a few South Africans in the chat. So let me know, is Mani or Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu going to be coming off the bench or starting the game? Love to hear your views on this one. I think it's got to be Andre Pollard starting the game, but you tell me what you think. I feel the All Blacks so sorry. They are second team, and huge respect to the men in black. The box is just going to be too much, I feel. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that. But, a lot of people say don't buy into the Eden Park factor and all that sort of stuff. But I think you should, because it really does raise the All Blacks level of their game, if that's going to be enough. Penny Timms, my wife reckons Andre Pollard must play simply because she reckons he is the sexiest pro on the planet. I disagree. Ali Kildun, English woman wing, is way sexier. Okay, bit of a fight in your household there, Penny. Eh? Andre Pollard. I'll show her a photo of. Do you know who Andre Pollard is? No. Okay. My wife doesn't know who that is, so I'm going to show her a photo, and see whether she thinks he's sexy or not. Paul Smith. Before Robertson was appointed as AB's coach, everyone who knows rugby were raving about him, saying he'll win New Zealand the next World Cup. What do you think? Well, Paul, my answer to that is probably what I just said before. I don't think a lot of people know that Razor coached the Brazil national team for a year. Do you know that? But that's his only experience in international level before coming up into the All Blacks. So let's face it, the All Black coaching, head coach job is one of the most difficult jobs in the world to do, with both the expectation of the rugby fans in New Zealand, but also the press. It's pretty much like what I would see the English football scene being like, right? The English football fans are probably the same as the All Black rugby fans. The English press on their national team is probably the same as the New Zealand press and content creators like me on the All Blacks. So it's a very, very difficult thing. And I don't think we should write Razor off yet. I think we need to get through this Rugby Championship season. He's got an opportunity now, right? 2 games against the Boks at home. And then he's got those difficult games against a very improving Australian Wallaby team. So this is going to be a really big test for Razor this year. It's a second year into his tenure. He's still got 2 more, of course, before the World Cup. So let's give him a little bit of time. I don't think we should write him off yet. But I think the next 2 weeks are going to tell us a lot about the resilience of Razor as a coach. Jasper, rugby is going to be the winner at the end of the day. Yeah, let's hope so, Jasper. No red cards, no yellow cards, no TMO. Let's hope they stay out of the game and that rugby is the winner. Let's hope it's a classic that we're all talking about in 10, 20 years from now. That's what we want. Brian, I also think Pollard to start. Yeah, I think so. We hate Money's goal kicking. I don't know why, William. He's been improving his goal kicking. I'm a pretty neutral on Money's goal kicking, and I've seen a great improvement since the Rugby World Cup. So I think he's been taken aside and put some real concentration into that. So I don't think his goal kicking is as bad as it used to be, whether it's still a problem. We've got Bowden Barrett, so you don't know what you're going to get. He can run hot or cold when it comes to goal kicking. Don't show Pollard to your wife. Okay. I will. I'll test her. I'll put her in the deep waters. Who do you think's the most sexiest rugby player you've seen? Do you remember any of their names? No, she doesn't. Okay. I'll show her some rugby players today and see. I'll report back on who my wife thinks is the most sexiest rugby player. Randomly factual. Please, dear Lord, no Lebok. Okay, you guys are making yourself pretty clear on this one. I've got to say, I like Marnie Lebok. I think he's a great player. If we had a guy like that in our number 10 jersey for the All Blacks being able to open up our back line, I think it'd be amazing. Hang on. Okay, you want to say hello to everyone. Come on. Okay, this is my wingman, everyone. He loves rugby. He sits every rugby game. He's with me. His name's Oscar. Say hello to everybody. We've got rugby fans all across the world here. Here we go. Say hello. Say hi, I'm Oscar. Hi, everyone. I'm an 8-year-old cavoodle puppy dog, aren't I? Hey? Where have you lived? You've lived in Australia. You've lived in Canada. You've lived in Mexico. Hey? You're a real world traveller. Hey? We're going to watch the All Blacks. Who's going to win? All Blacks or Springboks? Hey? Who's going to win? Who do you think's going to win? Okay, where you go? Go and play mummy. Go and talk to mummy. David, I didn't ask you before this, but what do you think about the interview Razor did with Marshy? He looked very desperate to beat the Boks. Hope your wife doesn't divorce you after seeing Pollard. Okay, I've got to be worried now that my wife's going to run away to Andre Pollard. Yeah, look, I just think with Razor and the press in general, whether it be with Marshy or whoever he's talking to, I think he's a bit out of his comfort zone and that stuff. It's not his thing. You can tell that. And he does the best that he can. In a lot of other sports, what they do is they get somebody else to be the front to the press. I'd probably like to see the All Blacks do that on a few more occasions and keep Razor away. I know that it's a thing that's done in rugby, but if the guy feels so uncomfortable as it appears that he does, why not reduce the amount of press that he does and put somebody else up as the spokesperson from the coaching team? That's one idea. But, yeah, he's desperate, of course, to beat the Boks, but I think he's also desperate, Razor, to get plenty of wins on the board this year. He can't afford to lose 4 more again this year, I think. And he knows the Wallabies are coming this year. I think the Wallabies have got their best chance in a long time to do the Bledisloe this year. And I think they're going to be really pumped up for that Eden Park game. So we're going to see 2 massive games at Eden Park this year. And don't underestimate those Wallabies. I think a lot of you know how I think about this Wallaby team under Joe Schmidt. And, yeah, some of you think I'm overrating them or overselling them a bit, but I think this is a really, really good team. I just hope that he can get a lot of his injury players back into this team, and we're going to see this really good Australian team shine, I think. Sasha need more experience. He is playing selfish still. Yeah, that's a good point, Jasper. I think Sasha, from what I've seen, I think he came into Test match rugby thinking, okay, I'm a talented guy. I've got a lot of skills. I've got a lot to offer. And he wanted to showcase that to not only Russie, but to the rest of his team. And I think it hit him pretty quickly that he realized that, hey, this is a 15, 23-man game and I need to be part of that. So I think Sasha's evolution as a player will change, of course, and he's still a young kid, so he's got plenty of years and he's a fantastic player, right? So he's going to get there, there's no doubt about it. The Contarian, hey, Mark, hope you're well. Yes, I am, thank you. I'm excited. I can't wait like everybody else for these games, and I'm talking 2 games. Let's not forget Australia, Argentina. That's going to be a cracker as well. Hope you're well. You plan to live stream more often. Look, if people are going to turn up and we can chat about rugby, sure, I'll do more live streams, no problem at all. I only came on today to test my equipment. This was not a planned session, so if I was going to plan something, I'd put it out there on my page, but I came on here to test my audio and that for the live stream tomorrow once the teams are announced. And a whole lot of people jumped on, and this is how we got talking today, so that's great. Sabello, do they play rugby in Mexico? Yes, they do. And what can I tell you about Mexican rugby? Well, currently they're ranked 38 in the world rankings, Mexico, and they've been going up the last few years. They play a competition normally between countries nearby like Paraguay. The West Indies countries have a number of rugby teams as well. Places like Barbados are pretty good at rugby. And you see Mexico play against those types, that level of country at the moment, but they really want to get up to the next level where they're competing with the Chiles and the Uruguays and the Paraguays. That's where they need to get to next. And they probably need a South African coach to come over here. And so if you know anyone in South Africa who wants to live in a sweat box over here in Mexico, come over and coach some rugby teams. I was one of the few Saffers that knew the Aussies were going to surprise us at Ellis Park. I knew this as soon as I saw the 82-kilo Lebot going up against the 93-kilogram O'Connor. Okay, so do you think it's a weight thing at number 10? That's interesting. Look, James O'Connor was snubbed, wasn't he, by Eddie Jones, and then he finally got his chance. And he proved to everybody, I think, that he can come in there and handle that. So he was the 4th choice, number 10 for the Wallabies. Came in and did an excellent job, I thought, in both of those games, James O'Connor. And it's going to be interesting now, isn't it, whether Schmidt leaves him in there or whether we get to see some more of Tom Liner when he comes back. Henny, wasn't David Havili also a brilliant 15 under the high ball with the Crusaders? Just another option with Will Jordan on the wing. Well, I'm not a David Havili fan, Henny, but I know there's a lot of David Havili fans. Was he good under the high ball with the Crusaders? Yeah, I'll give you that much. I saw him take a good couple of high balls. So, yeah, let's see. Anybody in the chat, big fan of David Havili? Would you like to see him back in this All Black squad or greatest squad? Let me know. Willem, suggestion, could you do a short YouTube session on Saturday at halftime? Then we can all text at you. Well, that could be hardcore for me if we're losing at halftime, Willem. Yeah, okay, I can do a halftime YouTube session on Saturday for the game. Who would like to join that? Put your hand up if you want to join a halftime chat, and we can do a bit of a recap on what's going on. That's a good idea. We'll do that. Mark, who do you think are among the favourites for the next World Cup? Paul Smith. Paul, favourites for the World Cup, favourites winning the World Cup 2027. When you're talking about favourites, you're going to be talking, of course, about New Zealand, South Africa, France, Ireland, and perhaps England in that conversation. But when you're talking about teams that could upset the apple cart, then I'm definitely thinking Argentina could do something in the next Rugby World Cup, and the Wallabies are going to be back with a vengeance. So I think the next World Cup, and we've also got a, don't forget, we've also got a change to the structure of the tournament with the different rounds. So that could throw up something a little bit different for the next Rugby World Cup. But who are the favourites? Yeah, I'd have to stick with the normal protagonists, I think. New Zealand, South Africa, France, or England, and maybe the Wallabies at home are going to be very tough. So I'll put those 5 out there. What are David Havili weaknesses and why don't rate him? Good question, Paul, and fair enough for asking it. Look, what I've seen of David Havili is I don't see enough on attack, and this is probably one of the problems we're seeing with the All Black backline for a number of years now, in terms of just that ability to get over the gain line and really create something. You know, looking at what Ma Nonu and Conrad Schmidt, and I know the game's changed a lot in terms of rules and everything else, but those guys were consistently able to get the New Zealanders onto that offensive plane that they need to play at to get that high-intensity game going. And I just don't think David Havili is, in that context, that type of player. And I've got to be honest, I'm not seeing that from Geordie Barrett in the All Black jersey. I saw that from Geordie Barrett when he was playing at Leinster for 7 months, but I haven't seen it in the All Black jersey. So to me, that says there's a problem going on inside. And that could be the 9 and 10 combination. It could be the depth of the backline for the All Blacks is not in the right area. Hope that answers the question. Why don't you coach Mexico? Because they're not desperate. That's why I don't coach Mexico. Do they like rugby in Mexico? They're starting to like rugby in Mexico, Mark. Of course, you've got huge competition from NFL and also from soccer, football here in Mexico, but there's more and more rugby being played. Where I live in Cancun, it's a very, very hot climate and difficult to get the game going here. And a lot of kids here, they play the traditional American sports. But in the cooler parts of Mexico, absolutely, the game is growing and it's getting more investment. So the answer is yes, the game of rugby in Mexico is growing. Eugene, theory, Boks lose at Eden Park and then win the next game, leaving it to Australia to win at Eden Park. Okay. I don't think the Boks will be doing that by design, but that could be one possible outcome. I'll tell you what, I think Australia is going to be very, very difficult at Eden Park this year for the All Blacks, and do not underestimate them. Do not underestimate them. Thanks, Mark, for all your insights. I always enjoy your views. Thanks, Gary. Thanks for joining today, Impromptu chat as we've had. I'll tell you what, I'm going to close it off on the hour mark, folks. So we've got 13 minutes left. So let me know any other questions you've got or ideas you want to throw out there. Just put them in the chat and I'll try and answer as many as I can in the next 13 minutes. And while I'm doing this today, I want to thank you all too for supporting me on the channel. It's fantastic that we've got such a great bunch of respectful rugby fans from across the world participating on my channel. I do look at some of the other channels from time to time, and I do see some of the disgraceful, despicable comments and interactions that are going on, but I'm very proud of what we're building together here on this channel. I think there's a lot of fantastic, respectful comments that go on all of my videos, and I want to thank you all for that, because that's exactly the environment I want to continue to foster here. We're here to talk about rugby. Rugby is the winner. No matter what team we support, we can have our passion and our loyalties, no question about it. But at the end of the day, we all sit down and have a beer and talk about the great game. That's what it's about for me. David, back 3 for All Blacks on Saturday. Carter in 11, Jordan 14, and McKenzie at 15. Then we're outrun the Boks. Also, I don't see any big rugby nation beating us on Eden Park. David, you had me until you got to Damien McKenzie at 15, mate. Not for starting the game for me. I just think he's too much of a liability early on in the game. And I think we need to either have Will Jordan or even a Geordie Barrett or a Ruben Love or a Bowden Barrett at 15 to start the game. I think McKenzie's most effective when he comes off the bench. And for anybody who's sitting there going, yeah, this guy just hates Damien McKenzie, I don't hate Damien McKenzie. I just think he's better suited with his talents to come off the bench and make an impact, which he didn't do, by the way, against Argentina in the weekend. If you go back and look at the try that Garcia scored and Pablo Matera peeled off from the scrum, there were 2 players from the All Blacks that missed the tackle. One was Finlay Christie, the other was Damien McKenzie. So that might say something. What did you think of the Leinster team with Geordie Barrett in there? I thought the Leinster team with Geordie Barrett in there was fantastic. And I also liked the way Geordie Barrett played while he was at Leinster. And I give Sam Prendergast a lot of credit for that, because he was playing the right type of game to showcase what Geordie Barrett's capable of in a 12 jersey. So that's my answer. I just wish his brother would do the same thing in the All Black jersey, so that we could see Geordie Barrett playing what we know he can do in that 12 jersey. Who the best centres in New Zealand that should be given a chance for the ABs? Paul Smith. Paul, good question. You're coming up with good questions today, Paul. Look, my position on Billy Proctor, if you're watching my videos last year, I was yelling at Razor to give Billy Proctor a chance. He played only that game against Fiji and San Diego last year, and then the rest of the time he was warming the bench for most of the season. So my impression of Billy Proctor is that the guy needs a lot more opportunity. So if he's selected, as I think he will be in the 13 jersey, unless Razor brings Rieko Ioane back into 13 again this weekend, which is a high possibility, I think Billy Proctor just needs to be given the chance. So what I would do with Billy Proctor is I would play him out the rest of the season in that 13 jersey and give him a chance against the rest of the Rugby Championship competition, take him over to Europe in the Northern Tour, let him have that experience as well, and then make an assessment after that whether or not we think he's going to push on through. But I think he can. I think he can become a better player, but he's got the backline of the All Blacks needs to play in a different way for Billy Proctor to have space and have the opportunity to show his real talent, as he has done in the Hurricanes. Jasper, we respect the All Black team and mad respect for them, but our blood is green. Yeah, absolutely, Jasper. We want Box supporters thinking that way, and we respect you guys as well. And all we want on Saturday is a fantastic game of rugby. And I tell you what, if the All Blacks end up losing, the Springboks have played better, I'll be the first to put up my hand and congratulate you all. Adrian in Cape Town. G'day, mate. Good to hear from you. I heard it's 22 degrees and cold in Cape Town today. It's 41 and a half here in Cancun at the moment, if you want to come over and get some sweat going. I'm joining at the end of the chat. A great initiative, Mark. Look, Adrian, I just started the chat today because I was working out the technical issues I've been having for my live stream that's scheduled for tomorrow when the teams are announced. So this was very much an impromptu live stream. I didn't plan on having everybody join, but people have, so we've made the most of it and we've been talking about rugby. So welcome. It's great to have you here, Adrian. David, if you don't like Mackenzie, can we also go with Geordie at 15, our gem Ruben Love? Yes, please. I totally agree with that. Geordie at 15 would be a fantastic move. He's got all the skill sets to be a fantastic 15 for the All Blacks again, because he's played there before. Damien McKenzie, 78 kilograms. There is a correlation. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Adrian, I'm hearing that wet conditions are forecast for Saturday. Who do you think that favours? Well, both teams are pretty good in the wet, aren't they, really? They've got the game to be able to go in the wet, and I think the All Blacks will still try to open it up if it's wet. They'll just need to take their chances, obviously, a little bit more. Look, the weather in Auckland can be all over the place. I've seen the forecast. We could have showers before the game. We could have showers during the game. We could have rain during the game. The forward battle is going to be intriguing, though, isn't it, this weekend? I think, a lot of, and I say this respectfully to the South Africans, I don't want to upset anyone, but a lot of South Africans really don't understand the size and power of this All Black pack now, that we've really moved up a gear. And I think having Fabian Holland come in has been a master stroke this year. And that's why I'm all for giving new players an opportunity in the black jersey. We've seen it with Wallace Satiti. We've seen it with Fabian Holland. We've seen it with Cam Roygaard when he came in and was given the opportunity. These guys that have got the talent, they're going to shine. It doesn't matter who they play. So for all these people that say, oh, you can't put those people in against the Box or whatever, I tell you what, if they're good enough and they're going to be stars of the future, they'll shine. And we've seen that from Fabian Holland, and that's what I love about these guys being given an opportunity. He's played the third most minutes of any All Black so far this year, Fabian Holland. He's done a fantastic job. And yeah, I just think this All Black pack is going in the right direction. It's not there yet. They've got to turn up every game. We didn't see that in Argentina in that second game. So if the All Black forwards can do it against the Boks in the first 20 minutes on Saturday, regardless of the conditions, I think that opens up the game, and I think the All Blacks will try their best to get those three tries or so in that first half, and I think that will be a really big telling part. But if the Springboks defence are able to shut that open game down from the All Blacks, then we're going to see what we've seen in recent games. We're going to see very close encounters, a try, 7 points, the difference here or there or less. And then kicking comes into it, and I'm talking about penalties, conversions, and all of that, and we know who can probably come out on top on that one. Jumping on at work here in the Bay Area. Greetings, everyone. Fantastic. Welcome from the Bay Area. I'm assuming you're talking about San Francisco Bay Area. Beautiful part of the world. Spent a number of years going up 101 and down 101. That brings back memories. Ace of Spades, Mark, the Boka are coming, my good sir. Yes, they are, and we're excited. Welcome to New Zealand, Aotearoa. If you haven't watched my welcome video to the Springboks, please check it out. Put a lot of effort into that one, and wanted to send out my deepest respects and welcome to New Zealand, to all South African fans watching live the game. And I know there's a few flying over from Australia that are watching my channel, so have a safe trip, have an incredible experience in New Zealand. Try our beautiful food, talk to our lovely people, and enjoy our beautiful weather. David, if Geordie starts at 15, who will start at 12? Maybe Quinn or maybe Lester? Well, I think it's really interesting. Lester's come into the squad, so I don't know what anybody else is thinking, but are we going to see him on the bench in the weekend? That could be a bit of a masterstroke. Look, I haven't been so far impressed by Quinn Tupaia. I know that he's a very good player. I've seen him play some very good rugby in the black jersey, but I just haven't seen him turning it on. And I'm wondering again whether or not it's because of the way the All Black backline is playing. So, yeah, if Geordie goes to 15, maybe Quinn at 12. Yep, I could see that, and leave Proctor at 13. Yep, in Palo Alto. Okay, my old stomping ground. Redwood City is where I used to hang out, my friend, in the Bay Area for quite a long time. So, lovely part of the world. Real estate was cheap in the day when I used to go over there. Eugene, defensive strength at Eden Park opponents have been held to under 20 points in 80% of the games during the unbeaten streak. Yes, my friend, that might be true in a statistical sense, but the Springboks haven't been to Eden Park during that streak, so there lies the difference. And I think that's going to be an interesting factor. So if those statistics are right and the Springboks are kept to under 20 points, then they'll have trouble beating this All Black team. I think I've said it a number of times in my videos. I think if the All Blacks are going to score tries in this game, then the Boks are going to have to score more than 25 or 30 points to win the game. It's going to come down to that. But I think the Springboks defence is going to be better than that, and they're going to keep the All Blacks quiet for a while. That's my gut feel. Adrian, in Cape Town, I agree on the AB's pack, especially as far as the front row stocks are concerned with the loss of Kitsoff and Malherbe over the past year. I think the ABs have the edge in front row depth. Okay, I'm not sure, Adrian, whether I would agree with they have the edge. I think it's very, very close. I think it's very similar, and that's what makes it intriguing. I think if one of the front rows does get the edge on Saturday, that could be the difference, couldn't it? One question I will ask to the South African viewers, is Stephen Kitsoff okay? Is his health okay? Is he back to normal? Can you let me know, please? Because I was very concerned about his journey as a human being, and I just want to know that he's back to where he was. So I'd like to know about that. Is there rugby in Mexico? Yes, I've answered that, and Mexico is round about 38, I think it is, ranking in the world rankings. So it's a sport that's growing in this country. It's not a huge sport, but it's finding its way and it's growing. David, Artie's 100th test match. We just know Artie is going to be on fire. Yes, he will be. I'd love to see him be the captain of the All Blacks, as I've mentioned a number of times. He will be on fire. I don't think he's played a bad game this year, Artie. Even losing against Argentina, he still had a pretty good game. Willem, he seems to be okay. Stephen Kitsoff, is it? Is that what you're referring to? Okay, that's good if that's the news. Randomly, Kitsoff is doing fine. He has our flag carrier not too long ago. He is retired now, of course. Yeah, I knew that he retired, but I was just wanting to know that he was fine physically, mentally, after what he went through. So that's good news. Great guy, great player. Served South Africa well. Martin, do you think Pumas can beat twice the Wallabies? I do. I really do, Martin. And there's a number of reasons why I say that. The first one, ironically, is because of the venue they're playing at on Saturday. I don't know how many people on this live stream have been to Townsville in far north Queensland, but it's a difficult place to go and play rugby. And it really neutralises the whole crowd scene there for the Wallabies because it's a rugby league community. It's a rugby league city. The Cowboys play up there. And I think this is going to be one of the factors that the Pumas are going to really, really have a chance on the weekend. And I think they can beat Australia there. And the other reason is that I really believe the Pumas can now start putting some consistency together. There's just something in my gut telling me that. And I think we're going to see that in this game because if they can bounce back after that win against the All Blacks and have a good win against the Wallabies, then they're really setting themselves up, I think, in this competition. It's going to be a lot harder in Sydney. That's where the rugby community of Australia lives and breathes, and that's where they'll be supporting the Wallabies. And if the Wallabies do get beaten in Townsville, then they'll be up even more for that game. But I think a lot of it's going to come down to how the injury cover plays for Joe Schmidt in this game in the weekend. I think that the Wallabies are going to have to bring in a number of new players, of course, particularly to their forward pack. And without the leadership of Harry Wilson at the moment, I see that it's another telling factor. Will Skelton's gone back to La Rochelle in France. So, yeah, those things, put all those things together in a pot, and that tells me that Argentina has a really, really good chance. And if that forward pack for Argentina plays like they did against the All Blacks, then they're going to make life very, very difficult. The other factor in that game that's going to be super important is going to be Santiago Carreras at number 10, if he's selected in there, because he can be hot and cold. We saw him play a brilliant game against the All Blacks in the second game. I was very impressed with him. I'm not a huge fan of him. I think he's great off the bench. But in that game, he played very, very well. And I think that if he has another good game at 10, if he's selected in that position, then I think that the Pumas have a really good chance of knocking the Wallabies off. But it's going to be a great game. I think that's, we know what's happening at Eden Park and everybody's talking about that. But let's not forget this game in Townsville in the weekend. It's going to be a great one. I rate De Groot over Tamati. He has a bit of thug in him. Yeah, Tamati's still learning his trade though, isn't he? And he's only had one game back from injury. He needs to get solid time back on the field. I like Ethan De Groot. I hear what you're saying. I agree with you. But I just think Tamati, in years to come, he's going to be our man. And they're both great. I think this depth that the All Blacks are building in the forward is impressive. Is Peter Steph du Toit still a reminder of hard hits from the 23 Cup final? Yeah, of course he is. It's never going to go away. There's too many videos online to watch about Peter Steph du Toit doing things in that 23. But I tell you what, and here's the thing that I reckon in all seriousness about the Springboks back three at the moment, the rest of the world's catching up. And Peter Steph du Toit, great player, fantastic player. Love the guy, love watching the guy. I love it when he's in the outside channel scoring tries. I love it when he's doing his breakdown stuff. I love him off the back of the line out. He's fantastic, Peter Steph du Toit. But when I watch Pablo Matera and Juan Martin Gonzalez and Adi Savia and Ben Earl and Tom Curry and these guys, I get excited as well. These guys are really good back three players for these different teams. And the Lucy competition in World Rugby at the moment, boy, it's absolutely fantastic. Look what we saw from the French B and C team in New Zealand. Their Lucy's in number 8 were absolutely fantastic. So, Peter Steph du Toit, fantastic player. Elmer, the differences might just be number 9, marginal through 28 32-28 Bok, very close. Love ABs as my close second team. Yeah, I think the score's going to be close. I think you're right. Will there be that many points in the game, though? That's a tough call, isn't it? 60 points in the game, especially if the weather's crap, as it likely is in Auckland. Don't know if I'm allowed to say crap on here, am I? Probably. Yeah, let's see. I don't know if it's going to be that high scoring. It's probably going to be 2018 or 1917 or something like that, yeah? David, Tom Wright also out of Wallabies with an ACL. Yeah, he's out for 9 to 12 months. Maybe he needs to go and see Sia Kolisi's doctor and get back within 7 months. But Tom Wright, it's a shame, isn't it? Just imagine he's not going to play under Joe Schmidt anymore as the Wallabies coach. That's a sad thing for those two to end that relationship like that, because I know that Joe Schmidt personally took Tom Wright in under his wing. I have got inside information on that. And he's helped Tom Wright out in a lot of areas off the field of play. So another thing Joe Schmidt does very well. Eugene, he's doing great. No more rugby, though. I'm assuming you're talking about Stephen Kitsoff. That's good. Good to hear he's good. David, good that the Wallabies game is going to be televised before the big one. Yes, I agree. Good to see that one first. It's the curtain raiser to the big one. Sean, 8-0 split with Andre Esterhazen and Quagga as hybrids. Well, Russie would be a game man to try that in this game. But why not? Russie tries lots of things, doesn't he? So I don't think we're going to see it. But what a thrill that would be for us All Black fans. Let's put it that way. Eben Botha. Oh, I see that name again. I automatically think of Nars Bolter. And I just think of that fantastic number 10 for the Springboks and all the years I watched. I'll tell you a little story. I used to watch the Springboks and All Blacks games back in the day, and I used to play backyard rugby with a good friend of mine, and he was a number 10, and he always wanted to be Nars Bolter. And every time he got the ball, he was trying to talk Afrikaans. We were only like 10 or 11 years old, and he was impersonating Nars Bolter. He was a good kicker, this kid as well. That brings back a lot of memories. Red 7, you can say crap if it's Auckland. Okay, not an Auckland fan then. Look, I'm a Taranaki lad, so I've got a lot against Auckland as well. Adrian, before the July test, PSSD hadn't started since last year following Schultz. Yeah, aware of that. So he's back. He's coming back into it. I get that. So, yeah, a few more runs. Let's hope he doesn't have a stormer of a game on Saturday. Let's see if New Zealand can keep Peter Steph to Toy quiet for 5 minutes. That'd be good. They didn't give South Africa and New Zealand scrum penalties they deserved in round 2 against Australian Pumas, so the forwards is important. Yeah, good point. Yeah. New Zealand did come out ahead on the penalties, though, in that game. Rugby as game currently has got no home Eden Park. Come Saturday, Eden Park record will vanish on our minds, sir. Not sure if you're an All Black or a South African. Look, I'd be saying the same thing if this record was at Ellis Park or Cape Town or Sydney Football Stadium or whatever. I just think it's an outstanding sporting record, right? And like all records, they're made to be broken. So one day, of course, it will be. But, yeah, this is just another wonderful part of rugby history, and I think we should enjoy it. I think we should be proud of it. And if we lose it and when we lose it, we should also appreciate that we had it for that long and that it took a fantastic team like the Springboks, if they're able to beat us on the weekend, to take it away from us. So good luck to whoever. We'll be watching from Connecticut in the USA. Ben, fantastic. What's the weather forecast for the game, Ben? Well, it's Auckland, New Zealand, so you can guarantee it's going to rain at some stage, whether before, during, or after the game. But we're hearing there's going to be a bit of water around. It's going to be showers. It's going to be cold. It's New Zealand in September, so it's not going to be pleasant. So, yeah, it could be wet. Could be a wet ball, and therefore kicking is going to be important. Hope all is well. Ben up in Connecticut, beautiful part of the world. My wife and I passed through there not so long ago. David, I hope I don't get stick for this, but I don't think the game will be close. ABs by 10 or more. I won't give you a stick, David, by saying that, but let's see. I think if the All Blacks win by 10 or more, they're going to have to get off to a very good start. And I think the Boks are going to be up for it so much in that first 20 minutes. But let's see. So, Mark, I see Smithy joined the All Black squad to have a look at the backs. Wonder if it's a little too late. Yeah, I saw that as well. And I was wondering that although the professor has been in there for the last couple of weeks, and I don't know whether I can say this, but I heard through the grapevine, let's put it that way, that Smithy has been talking very directly to some people in the coaching environment of the All Blacks about the way the backs have been playing. So let's see whether or not we see any changes for the weekend. I think it's too late to change anything. I think Razor's going to, what is it? It's 12:37 here in Cancun. So we're only a few hours away from the All Blacks team being announced. And I don't think Razor's going to give us too many surprises. I think he's going to say, look, guys, you boys that played in Argentina, you've got something to prove to not only the New Zealand public, but also to the coaches of the team and the squad. So get out there and do your best. I think that's what we're going to see. That's my gut feel. So I don't think we're going to see too much in the way of changes. Louis Creel, is Ratama going to be ready? No, he's not going to be ready. He's got a fractured rib. He's got a fractured rib. So 6 to 12 weeks. If you're a doctor, you'll know that. And I heard Razor talking on the press conference a couple of times. They're waiting for the last minute to see whether Ratama will be ready to go. There's no way the guy's going to be playing in the weekend with a broken, fractured rib. And if he does and the All Black coaches let him play, they should be absolutely dispelled for that, because that would be a disgrace as far as player welfare goes, letting him go out there. But Ratama won't be playing for the All Blacks this weekend. That's my pick. What time's the team going to be announced? Well, the All Blacks haven't officially said yet, but normally we get it around 7 p.m. my time. So we're looking at about 9 a.m. Auckland time, David, for the announcement of the team. But he might push it back a little bit. I know Russie's probably going to go last minute with his. And someone asked the question yesterday. I thought it was a really good question. They said, how long before the game do they legally have to announce the team? It's supposed to be 48 hours before kickoff. They have to submit a team sheet to World Rugby within that time frame, and also to the world press that are following it. So that's the rules around the announcing of a team. If you didn't know that, I found that out yesterday. I didn't know it either. NZ guy, I thought we had a halfback problem, Mark. I thought we had a halfback problem. I think Justin Marshall's going to need to do the boots up again in the weekend, isn't he? But, we have a halfback problem, that's for sure. Would you prefer the Springboks do 6-2 or 7-1? I think 6-2. I think what Russie needs to have is that coverage for forwards coming on fresh in the second half. Because my logic there is, if the Springboks are chasing the game, they're going to need to make sure they get good quality ball. And the only way they're going to do that is to try and get some forward ascendancy. So I think that a 6-2 split makes sense on that basis. And then to have two backs that can come off like a Sasha, who are game changers if they need to chase the game. Or if he does the crazy thing, in my opinion, put Andre on the bench, then you can bring Andre on and change the game as well. But if they're chasing the game, they're going to need to have that 6-2 split, in my opinion. So that's what I would do, Tristan. Thanks for your question. Angie. Hi, Angie. Welcome from Canada. Great to have you here. We'll be up at 1 a.m. from Canada. Love both teams, but have to support my home, South Africa. Brilliant stuff. Yes, it'll be a 2 a.m. kickoff here in Cancun. So I know there's a lot of people on the East Coast on this chat, and we've also got our friend in the Bay Area. So, yeah, it's an early morning start for us. I think the Wallabies game kicks off at about 11 p.m. the night before, Friday night. So that's what rugby fans are all about, though. We love getting up in the middle of the night, yeah. It's when the best rugby's played, in the middle of the night. Randomly factual, Justin Marshall has been seen whitebaiting recently, has he? Well, I hope he catches a few. Used to go myself in the old days, back in the Mokau River. Catch a few whitebait. God, I haven't had whitebait from New Zealand for years. That's something I miss. Oscar, you okay, mate? You okay? We're talking rugby here, mate. Aaron Smith will still be able to give the Boks a run at this stage of his career. Always been a thorn against us. Yeah, wasn't he a great player, Smithy? Brilliant halfback, really, really good halfback. And I'm not just saying that because he was a Kiwi. I think Aaron Smith in any team would have been fantastic, and so many great attributes as a halfback, wasn't he? And for those on the chat that have been talking about Finlay Christie earlier, when you compare a Finlay Christie and a Aaron Smith, well, you can't compare them for a start. But what I'm saying is Smith brings all those other dimensions to his game that Christie just doesn't have, and that's probably what I meant when I was talking about Finlay Christie earlier in the chat, that he just doesn't have those other attributes that a really top nine has. Yes, he's very good. He's steady. He's conservative. He brings that to the game, no doubt about it. But, yeah. NZ guy, Christchurch here. You're up early, aren't you, mate? Christchurch, what's the time over there now? Bet you it's cold in Christchurch this morning. Oh. Used to play golf at Rangatira Golf Course. Do you know where that is, mate? New Zealand guy? Used to play golf at Rangatira Golf Course. No, not Rangatira. Rangiora. That's it. Rangiora Golf Club. It brings back some memories. Born and bred on that. Why can the All Blacks call up Lester Fa'anganuku, who's outside of New Zealand, not Aaron Smith? Good question, Tristan. I think it was around contractual agreement, or there was something in the contract that allowed them to do that. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's why he's been able to be called up. So, yeah. Struggles staying for the game, but still have a few margaritas, mate. Yeah, it's a late night. It's a big night for everybody over this side of the world, of course. We're going to be up in the early hours, but that's part and parcel of the great game. So take whatever your poison is to keep you awake. I'll be getting some tacos, some burritos, and might have a couple of shots of tequila to celebrate the occasion as well, because it's not every day the All Blacks and the Springboks play at Eden Park. So, yeah, why not? Ben's up in Connecticut. Ben, hope no yellow or red cards on Saturday. Yeah, let's hope so, Ben. I don't know if you saw my video yesterday on discipline, but 13 cards have been distributed between these two teams in the last 4 games they've played. What an incredible statistic that is, and a terrible one. So let's hope we don't see any yellow or reds on Saturday in this game. Let's hope the TMO keeps their mouth quiet as well. Yeah, we don't want to see cards. Contrarian, who will be under the greatest mental pressure to win in the New Zealand versus South Africa clash this Saturday? Oh, good question, my friend. I think it's got to be the All Blacks, doesn't it? Because Razor's under a lot of pressure after losing that last game against Argentina. I think Russie kind of won back the favouritism after beating the Wallabies in that second game, even though it wasn't pretty from the Springboks, I think. But I think Razor's got to be under the most pressure, because if he loses at Eden Park, he loses the record. He loses 2 games in a row. And then he sets up the game in Wellington, which is not a New Zealand All Blacks friendly venue. It could start looking very, very ugly for Razor. But, yeah, I think Razor's probably under more mental pressure. And if you're talking about the teams, I think also the All Blacks are probably under more mental pressure. I think the Boks have got everything to win in this game, haven't they? They go in with the record at stake for the All Blacks. They go in, everybody expecting it to be a close game. If one team wins by a point or the other, the All Blacks will be more devastated losing by a point than I think what the Springboks will be. Let's put it that way. I don't know what you think. Let me know in the chat. New Zealand guy, what a day. We win the Shield, then watch the ABs at 5:41 a.m. Yeah, what a day. Ranfurly Shield, Southland. Wow. Fantastic. Well done. I don't know if there's anyone on the chat from down that way, Invercargill, Bluff, all those beautiful parts of New Zealand. Ranfurly Shield. It's great when it moves around the country, the Ranfurly Shield. It's a brilliant buzz for New Zealand rugby. JD, tough one to predict, going to be tight. Methinks the discipline and defence will be crucial for both teams. JD, I think you're 100% right, mate. And I think you can also throw in there the kicking will also be absolutely paramount. The use of the benches will be important in terms of who's on the bench, what time of the game they come on. The refereeing will be important. The weather will be important. So many things are going to be important for this one. Adrian in Cape Town says the Boks would love to win, but the ABs have to win. I think that nails it, doesn't it? Very good, Adrian. I like that. I think the weather plays in favour of the All Blacks. South Africa usually not that good with wet ball. Okay, I've seen the South Africans play good in wet weather rugby before, but okay, if you're saying that. Ben thinks the pressure's more on the Kiwis. Yep, okay, I agree. Eugene, ABs have not lost a game where Carl Dixon was the referee. Wow, didn't know that. Great stat. Where did you pull that one from, Eugene? Fantastic. Well, there's always a first time. That's what I'll say. Hey, I was going to stop at 1 hour. It's 1:20 now. Okay, we'll keep going until you get bored. Yeah, that's a great stat. All Blacks haven't lost a game when Carl Dixon was the referee. Okay, let's see if this is the first. JD, Pollard must start. Yeah. Grok. Yeah, okay. I could have got it as well, Eugene. Good one. Pollard must start. Yeah, he must. I think so. I don't know how Russie can go without Pollard on the field. Look, if the Boks get off to a 20-minute start like they did against the Wallabies in that first game, that's going to make this test match super exciting to watch. And to have Handré Pollard managing the game in that way, that's what us rugby purists live for, to see how the All Blacks can come up with a solution to take that one down. Boks need a good start, Gary. Yeah, they do, mate. No question about it. Okay, I'm going to be serious this time. Got 9 minutes left, folks, till I end the chat. Just a reminder, tomorrow, once the teams have been announced, so around about the same time, what is it? Yeah, and around about the same time as we're on now, I'm going to be starting tomorrow a live chat to talk about the teams. So if you're up for another chat tomorrow, I will be here around this time. In fact, in 10 minutes, it'll start tomorrow. I'll talk about the teams. I'll ask you what you think of the teams, and then we'll get into the deep dive around that. So if you want to come back tomorrow for that, feel free to join me. The details are on the community page. I'm going to be wrapping up this chat in 8 minutes time from now. So throw in your last questions if you've got any. South African for the record. Okay, Eben, I'm with you there, mate. Good luck. DMAC or Bowden at fly half. How about neither, Sean? How about neither? How about we get someone new in there like Ruben Love? I know it's not going to happen. Don't yell at me. But if you're giving me those two, then it's got to be Bowden. DMAC off the bench for me. Bowden can't. DMAC can't start the game. Adrian, how many times has Carl Dixon actually ref the All Blacks in South Africa? Or the All Blacks, yeah. That's a good question. Might only been once. Will you be doing videos on the URC Champions Cup this year? Good question. Do you want me to? If you want me to, I can probably look at doing it. There's going to be enough interest in it for sure. I like watching the URC. Watched a bit of it last year. So yeah, why not? Any rugby is good for me. If I can get more access to it, the better. Sounds good, Mark. Cheers, Tim. Thanks, Tim. Enjoy San Francisco, my friend. Beautiful city. Thank you, Brian. Have a great day. Massive game coming up. Yes, it is. We'll have to use Sasha Iceman any day, but something different to win Saturday. Yeah, I think that's what it's going to take. I think it's going to take something different to win on Saturday. You're right, from both teams. I think the stock standard's not going to do it for both teams. There's going to have to be a special moment in time, as we usually see in these games, yeah, with momentum swings and all the rest of it, no doubt about it. Thank you, Louis. Have a great day. Hope to join me tomorrow at the same time. We're going to be talking about the two teams once they're announced, so come back again tomorrow. Thanks, Sean. Enjoy your day. NZ guy, huge game. Absolutely it is. Any last minute thoughts out there before we finish up today, everyone? Thank you for joining me. This was completely impromptu and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So you can expect some more of these live streams from me. Good to have people from all over the world. Indeed it is, Tim. Great place to live and work. Yep. Imagine a draw. Who's putting money on a draw, I wonder? Why not? Why not a draw? Thank you, NZ guy. Have a good day. JD from Georgia, have a great day. Thanks for joining. Tristan, looking forward to future live streams. I am as well. Thank you. Neil from Michigan, we'll be watching at 3 a.m. I saw Stormers beating the Blues at Eden Park. I therefore have a good omen that the Boks will pull it off. Good on you, Neil. Hope you're enjoying the summer up there in Michigan, getting out on the lakes for a bit of fun, bit of fishing. Henny, All Blacks by 10. Good luck to both teams. Yep. Gary, World Cup 2023 final all over again. You know what? There's something inside me, Gary, that's saying that this is a little bit more intense than the Rugby World Cup final. I don't know why I'm saying that, but of course there's nothing as big as the World Cup final. But this Eden Park record, the Springboks at Eden Park, it's just magic, really magic. Thanks, Mark. We enjoyed it too. Hope to see more live streams. Have a great day. Thank you very much, Contrarian. Appreciate you. See you tomorrow, David. Thank you. Visit SA soon. I will. We'd love to come. NZ guy, I can see it. A draw, I guess you're talking about. Yep. Why not? Why not a draw? Yep. Okay, everyone. I might wrap up now. It's been an hour and a half. It's been a great session. I've enjoyed it for an impromptu session. Fantastic stuff. Come back tomorrow, 1 o'clock my time. So that's around 7 minutes from now in Cancun. I don't know what time it will be where you are. It'll probably be 8 p.m. in South Africa, 6 a.m. in New Zealand. And the teams will be announced and I'll be talking in detail about the teams and I'll be wanting to hear your views and opinions on the teams tomorrow as well. So if you're keen for another live stream tomorrow at that time, please come back and join me. I appreciate it. And thank you very much for joining today. Jono, thank you. Ben, thank you. Adrian in Cape Town, enjoy the evening. Gary, thank you very much, everybody. And I'll sign off and I'll see you all again tomorrow right here on Inside Rugby with Mark. Bye for now.